I think Tip Clark is my best friend, I think, that I made out of this whole thing, because I see him on a regular basis.
Right.
And I almost feel detached, because when I go to things like Super Sabre, I might know, what, 5, 6 Torhone guys? He might know everybody in the room. So I have a little different perspective. The guys that I flew with were the youngest pilots. They had 120 hours in the airplane. That's it, you know? Yeah, well, for me, I had, because I went to Torhone that 2 years, I think probably saved my life. I had the highest UE, fourth highest in the wing.
How did you get to Torhone from pilot training? That's a big leap.
Grace of God, really was. It was everybody was going Southeast Asia down the pipeline. They had one assignment for USAFE. I got it. I was the first second lieutenant to enter the 613th in 4.5 years. Pretty amazing. So I got to fly. I mean, remember, Bob Stewart handed me the card, you know, the old light and the star, say 4. Right. I should have kept that card.
Right.
He handed me that. I had no idea what he was talking about. And I'm flying with Dick Wrong, Stewart, and probably Milt Sanji, and I'm just sitting there flying. Boy, I couldn't, you know, it was great, absolutely great.
And how did we treat you in the 613th TFS? Because my remembrance is seeing you arrive at Incirlik Air Base, where we sort of tricked you into something.
Nah, I don't remember anything. I remember I had to.
We told you to do an air show or roll on arrival at Incirlik.
Oh, something like that.
And I was in the tower with the squadron commander, Squeaky Watson, and you came up initial, and I wanted to see if you fell for it. But
did I?
You did.
I did. Good. Well, that's a legal rule then. I was ordered to do it. I actually, I don't know what I get. I did something illegal apparently in my last flight in Nam, for which I had to pay $200. I think 3 of us. I think they were worried about me starting a chain reaction,
right,
because apparently they've had a couple bookies have tried to do stuff with the airplane and ended up in a fireball. And I remember I pitched over my last flight, Sandy Avery, and they didn't like that.
Wow.
Article 15 or whatever it was, you had to pay $200.
Right.
And I kept the envelope, because everybody in the unit gave me the money.
Wow.
Signed it and gave me the money. I still have that. It's pretty cool.
And so what was your experience when you landed at Tuiwa, met your squadron mates? Van Rang.
You mean when I first got there?
Yes.
I think combat is, well, it's unknown. I mean, I guess you're just initially waiting to see the bullets. And they didn't come for 3 months at least. You don't even realize, you could be at the range, but until you see that first thing explode in front of the airplane, or fly at night, you realize, oh, this is war. So I'd have to say, good bunch of guys, young guys, they're all first and second lieutenants, and you know, they accused me of, we used to do a lot of air-to-air coming back, pulling a lot of G's, doing a lot of aerobatics and stuff like that, and they would accuse me. I remember Harv Damschen at Torhone. He probably was one of the best sticks I ever flew with. And we were doing ACM, you know. He'd pull on the pole and I'd be squirting out. And I can remember this day. We did about 3 or 4 times, and he said, okay, let's try one more time. And he rolled in 0G. Can you hack that, Chadwick? Right. And I did a couple of those things with the young guys back in Nam, and well, you're putting the speed brakes down, what have you. So in a way, they were very inexperienced with the airplane, but they did a hell of a job. Unbelievable. Charlie Sublett comes to mind, probably one of the best pilots I ever flew with. He just could see everything, knew exactly what the guy was talking about. Boom, ordnance on target. Pretty cool. Yeah. But I don't know about anything about that. It just there were guys that probably shouldn't have been there. You know, Palace Chase, I guess, was going, you know, they were trying to get as many guys from behind the desk to come forward and, you know, pull their weight. And we got a lot of guys who hadn't been in the airplane for a long, long time, and they just wanted to get out there and puke the bombs off and come home.
Right. All right.
So, what else?
Tough way to run a war. So how many,
Yeah.
and describe a typical mission or one that you generally remember.
It's just, troops in contact were always, you didn't want to screw that up. You really slowed down and made sure it was a lot of weight on the fact to make sure that you put the bombs where they were supposed to go. How these guys knew, I have no idea. Because these run-in headings and all that stuff, I don't know how you can tell where a bomb's going to go until it comes up there. But they did a fantastic job. The only mission I remember was off the alert pad, you know, at night, bad weather, in a valley, TIC. I mean, you're just asking to turn in your wings from that one. And it was one of these things where you got a heading, came in, IFR, boom! In a valley, you get the flares on the ground, you're trying to line up, pickle something off, boom, back in darkness. And after 2 or 3 times of doing that, it was kind of weird.
How did the fact describe what you were doing?
Just put a couple logs, he'll try to give you some guidance. Once you got a couple bombs done there, you could kind of get some 3D out of it. But that was a mission you really had to work at.
GPS signal
And
lost.
TIC, you imagine doing something like that and killing somebody down there? That'd be not good. But anyway, I think that's one of the most memorable. And the first time I saw something explode in front of the airplane was pretty... Whoa! Like I say, when something blows up in front of the airplane, you realize...
Do you realize that the first time you saw that?
That, like, you couldn't describe that. I couldn't describe the feeling. It was almost like surreal. What in the hell was that? And
Were you in Laos?
no, I got hit in Laos. No, Cambodia. I got hit. We weren't supposed to be in Cambodia. I remember my wife said, "The president said you're not in Cambodia." I said, "Well, I've been flying a few missions there. I got a ZPU through my aft fuel tank. Thank God it was empty. And my wingman, I remember pulling off the target. He said, "Chadwick, you're on fire." I said, "What in the fuck are you talking about?" And I look around. All the lights are on, but I mean, I don't see anything. So
Right.
I landed in Phnom Penh, the airport, and had a hole in that thing. If it had fuel in it, I'd have been dead. Just blew in one side out the other, and you could look right through it.
Wow.
Here's what happened in the later parts of the war. You weren't supposed to strafe. This is war, you can't strafe. And that's the first thing, I don't know who, was it Salyards or, I don't know who the DO was at the time, but that's the first thing. Acker. I think it was Acker.
William Acker.
I think it was, but I'm not sure. Anyway, he didn't ask me how I was, he said, "Were you strafing?" I said, "Yeah, we were strafing." And that's all I cared about. So, no more strafing. Anyway, got the airplane on the ground, sent somebody out, put a patch on it, flew it back, and that was it. That's the only